Okay, so communism versus capitalism.
Yeah,
We hear these terms everywhere, right?
all the time.
And it's always like,
Oh yeah,
this one's good, this one's bad.
the good versus bad narrative. Yeah,
But I think it's way more complicated than that.
it really is.
What I'm interested in is like,
Yeah,
what makes these systems tick
yeah.
and how those differences, actually play out
Exactly.
in different societies.
How they shape societies, how they impact people's lives.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess
Yeah.
to get us started,
Sure.
did you just like break down the core principles of each
Okay.
system?
So if we start with capitalism,
Yeah.
think of it like individuals and companies own stuff. Right? They own the factories, they own the tools they own, the resources that they need to produce goods and services.
Okay.
And they're motivated by profit.
Mm-hmm.
So they're competing with each other in this open market.
Okay.
And this competition is supposed to drive innovation, drive efficiency. It pushes everybody to do better, make better products, offer them.
Yeah.
At better prices.
So it's like this constant race.
Yeah, kinda, yeah.
Right to the top, where businesses are always...
Yeah, trying to outperform each other, trying to get that edge.
But then what happens to the people who don't?
That's a good question.
Win the race.
Yeah, that's one of the big criticisms of capitalism is that when you have this focus on individual gain and competition, you can end up with a situation where inequalities become really severe. You have a concentration of wealth and power in the hands of very few.
Right, and then a lot of people are kind of struggling to keep up.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's where communism kind of tries to step in.
Right, communism is trying to address that problem.
Yeah, like level the playing field a bit.
Exactly. So in communism, the idea is that the means of production, those factories, those resources are owned collectively, usually by the state.
Okay.
And the goal is to eliminate class distinctions and make sure that everyone has their basic needs met.
Okay.
So it's really about cooperation.
Right.
Sharing the wealth equally. That's not about striving for individual profit.
Okay, that sounds pretty utopian.
It does, yeah.
But, I mean, is it really that simple in practice?
Well, the question is, like, how do you...
Yeah, how do you get people to, like...
Yeah.
Excel or innovate if there's no individual reward?
That's one of the main criticisms that people level at communism is that by minimizing competition and redistributing wealth, you also kind of take away some of the incentive for people to work hard or contribute their talents. It becomes much more difficult to sustain innovation and economic growth.
Yeah, so it seems like both. Systems have their...
It's a trade-off, right?
Yeah.
There are trade-offs in both systems.
Yeah, you're kind of always balancing individual freedom with the collective good in some way.
Exactly.
I'm wondering how these differences play out in, like, real-world scenarios.
Yeah.
So, for example, the division of labor.
Okay.
Right? So that's the idea that specializing in specific tasks makes us more productive as a society.
Absolutely. It's more efficient.
Yeah, right.
Like, think about a complex product.
Okay.
Like a smartphone.
Okay, yeah.
It would be pretty hard for one person to just make that entire phone from start to finish.
Right.
Right, so instead what we do is we break the process down into all these specialized tasks.
Yeah.
You have engineers designing the circuits.
Okay.
You have factory workers assembling the components.
Yeah.
You have software developers writing the code. everybody plays a specific role.
Right.
And that's how we get this really complex product.
So in a capitalist system, individuals are motivated to develop those specialized skills.
Yes.
Because they can earn more in a competitive market.
Absolutely. It encourages people to hone their skills.
Right.
Develop their talents.
They see a way to kind of move up.
Yeah, to maximize their earning potential.
Yeah, okay, so it's like everyone is choosing their character class.
Yeah.
Right, in the video game.
I like that analogy.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna focus on my strengths and be the best at this one thing.
Yeah, to get ahead.
Okay, but then how does that work in a communist system?
Yeah.
Where it's not so much about individual gain.
So the division of labor still exists. You still have specialization, but the motivation is different.
Okay.
It's about contributing to the collective good.
Right.
Not about personal advancement.
Okay, so you're not necessarily trying to get ahead of other people.
You're not trying to climb the ladder.
Yeah, you're just making sure that the system...
You're making sure that the system functions smoothly.
Yeah, and everyone's needs are met.
And everyone's needs are met.
Okay, so it's like the same tool, but it's being used for... different purposes.
Right, different goals.
It makes me think about how, money and exchange work in these systems.
Right.
Because money is
it's the lifeblood.
Right? It's like the fuel.
Yeah, it's essential.
That makes the whole thing run.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny to think about, how we got to money. Because I remember reading about bartering systems.
Yeah.
Where people would just trade goods directly.
Oh, yeah. Like trading chickens for cows.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how many chickens is a cow worth?
Right, exactly. And that's why money evolved.
Yeah, it must have gotten so complicated.
Yeah, it got really complicated really fast.
Yeah.
So money emerged as this common measure of value.
Yeah, like a universal language.
Yeah, a universal language that simplifies everything.
Makes it easier to trade.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So in a capitalist system, money is obviously a huge driver of competition and wealth accumulation. It's what motivates people to work and invest.
It's like the points you're getting for playing the game.
Right. It becomes a measure of status and influence.
So it's like keeping score.
Yeah.
In the game of capitalism.
Exactly.
Everyone's trying to...
Right. Everyone's trying to earn more, invest wisely.
Yeah.
Increase their economic standing.
Okay, but then how does that work in a communist system?
Well, the ideal in a communist system is to downplay the significance of money.
Right.
It might still exist.
Right.
But it's not the driving force.
Right.
The focus is on ensuring that everybody has access to those basic necessities.
Yeah.
Food, healthcare, housing, regardless of their individual wealth.
Okay, so it shifts the focus from
Exactly. Me.
Yeah, from individual accumulation to this...
Yeah, to the collective well-being.
Collective well-being, exactly.
But then doesn't that raise a lot of questions about how you distribute wealth?
Of course someone still has to make decisions about how much goes where.
Yeah, and who gets what.
Exactly.
Okay, so how does that work in these different...
So in capitalism, wealth distribution is largely determined by market forces.
Okay.
So individuals earn wages for their labor.
Right.
Entrepreneurs earn profits from their businesses. Landowners earn rent from their properties.
Right.
Adam Smith called this the invisible hand.
Right.
Where this individual self-interest within this framework of competition is supposed to lead to a beneficial outcome for society as a whole.
But doesn't that have the potential to create like a lot of inequality? The criticism is that if some individuals or companies are consistently winning, they just keep amassing more wealth and power. And it leaves others further and further behind.
Okay, so that's where communism tries to kind of...
Right, communism tries to intervene by eliminating that private ownership of capital and redistributing the wealth more evenly.
Yeah, so that everyone kind of has...
So that everyone has
a similar starting point.
A more equal starting point. Yeah, and that their basic needs are met.
Yeah, but then doesn't that risk, like...
Well, the argument is that if everyone is guaranteed a certain level of well-being, regardless of their effort, it can diminish their motivation to excel or to contribute at their highest potential.
So you're kind of stuck between this idea of equality.
It's a tension, a real tension between equality and individual drive.
So we're always kind of wrestling with this balance between...
Yeah, we're always grappling with these questions.
Individual freedom and the collective good.
Exactly, and it's fascinating how both systems are trying to address these fundamental economic and social challenges. But they're approaching them from such different angles.
They have such different ideas about how to get there.
Yeah, completely different philosophies. And it's interesting to think about how these systems, like how they developed over time. You know?
Yeah, because they didn't just like appear out of nowhere.
Exactly. They have a history, a context that shapes how we think about them.
So, for example, before, like, the ideas of capitalism really took hold, there was this system called mercantilism. Where, like, nations were obsessed with
hoarding gold and silver.
Yeah, it seems so strange now.
It does,
Back then, it was all about, like...
Yeah, it was all about maximizing exports. Minimizing imports, building up those precious metal reserves.
Like a giant game of Monopoly.
Yeah, kind of,
Where the goal is just to have...
Yeah, just acquire as much gold and silver as possible. But even then, people were starting to question that system. Thinkers like the physiocrats started to say, wait a minute, true wealth doesn't come from gold and silver. It comes from the land, from agricultural production. They were emphasizing the importance of a free market. Where supply and demand could determine prices and allocate resources more efficiently.
So they were kind of laying the groundwork.
In a way.
For the free market ideas that Adam Smith...
Absolutely. Adam Smith took a lot of those ideas and ran with them.
He built on them.
Yeah, he developed his own comprehensive theory of capitalism.
Where he's like, hey...
Emphasizing self-interest and competition.
It's all about the individual.
He argued that individuals pursuing their own gain would ultimately benefit society as a whole.
So it's like this almost counterintuitive idea.
Yeah, a little bit.
That by letting people be selfish in a way... You're actually creating something good.
Yeah, by pursuing their own self-interest. They would end up creating goods and services that other people wanted. And that would benefit everyone. Now, of course, he also recognized the need for some rules.
Like some boundaries.
Some regulation. To make sure that competition was fair. And to prevent monopolies from stifling innovation.
So it's like you need to set up the rules of the game.
Right, exactly. You need to create a framework that ensures a level playing field.
So that everyone has a fair chance.
Exactly.
Okay, so then we can't talk about
this stuff.
Yeah, the evolution of these systems.
Right.
Without talking
about Karl Marx.
Karl Marx, right?
Yeah.
Because he was a pretty fierce critic. Yeah.
Capitalist.
A huge critic of capitalism.
Yeah, he saw all these problems with it.
He did.
Like, he saw it as a system.
He saw it as a system that exploited workers.
Yeah.
And created this enormous gap.
Yeah.
Between the rich and the poor.
So he's saying it's fundamentally...
Right, he saw these inherent contradictions.
Yeah, and injustices.
Injustices within capitalism.
Yes. Yeah.
That he believed would eventually lead
to its downfall.
Okay,
so in his view, capitalism was like...
Yeah, it was dividing society into two main classes.
Okay.
The bourgeoisie, who owned the means of production, and the proletariat, who owned nothing but their labor.
Okay, so he's saying it creates this...
He's saying that this system creates exploitation.
Because
the bourgeoisie are always trying to maximize profits.
Yeah.
Which means paying workers as little as possible.
Okay, so for Marx...
Yeah.
This was like a fundamental imbalance of power. Absolutely an inherent imbalance of power.
Where the people with the capital had all the...
Yeah, they had all the leverage.
The control.
And all the control.
Okay.
And he believed that this power dynamic would inevitably lead to conflict.
Because the workers would eventually...
Yeah, proletariat would eventually...
Rise up
and
demand something different.
Enough is enough. We need a more equitable system.
And so for him, communism was like the...
Right, he saw communism as...
the solution.
Yeah, as the next stage in the evolution of human society.
Okay, like the natural progression.
Yeah, the way to overcome the flaws of capitalism.
Okay, but then history shows us that it's not.
But in practice...
That's simple.
Right, it's a lot more complicated.
Yeah, I knew...
The communist states that emerged in the 20th century often looked very different.
Yeah.
From what Marx had envisioned.
It wasn't that utopia.
Yeah, they struggled with economic inefficiency.
Right.
Political repression.
Right.
A lack of individual freedoms.
So, like, those grand theories.
Yeah, it's always tricky.
When you try to put them into practice.
To translate theory into practice.
Yeah, there are all these unforeseen challenges.
You run into unforeseen challenges.
And consequences, right?
Unintended consequences, absolutely.
Okay, so it's like this gap between...
Yeah, there's a gap.
The idea and then the reality.
Between theory and practice.
Yeah, okay. And it seems like that's kind of a recurring theme.
It is a recurring theme.
Yeah. In our discussion here.
Yeah, it highlights how complex human behavior is.
Yeah.
And how difficult it is to implement these large-scale social and economic transformations.
And also how important it is to like...
And to constantly reassess.
Yeah.
To adapt.
To be willing to change.
To be willing to change, based
on what you're seeing.
Based on what you're saying.
Yeah. The real world results.
Yeah, the real world feedback.
Even capitalism.
Even capitalism has evolved significantly from its early forms.
Yeah, so it's not this like static thing.
It's not static, it's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
I mean, today we see all sorts of mixed economies that blend elements of free markets.
Yeah.
With government intervention.
Okay.
With social welfare programs.
Yeah, so it's like trying to find that balance.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance.
Yeah. Between the individual and...
Yeah. Between individual freedom...
And the collective...
The collective responsibility.
Between economic growth...
Right.
And social equity.
Exactly.
It's a constant...
It's a balancing act.
Yeah, a constant push and pull.
Yeah, a constant push and pull.
So I'm curious, like, how do you see these systems continuing to evolve?
Yeah.
Like, what are the challenges?
Yeah, what's next?
Yeah, what are the opportunities?
What's the future?
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to predict the future with any certainty.
Yeah.
But I think it's safe to say that we are living in a time of rapid technological advancement, globalization, increasing awareness of issues like income inequality, and climate change.
And all these big global challenges are kind of...
Yeah, they're putting pressure.
Yeah, putting pressure on the systems.
Yeah, to adapt, to find solutions.
So we're seeing these calls for more sustainable capitalism.
Yeah, for more ethical capitalism.
Yeah, for businesses to...
For businesses to think beyond just shareholder profit.
To think about their impact.
To think about their impact on the environment.
Yeah.
On their workers.
On the communities they're in.
Yeah, to consider all the stakeholders.
So it's like moving away from that.
It is, in a way.
Yeah, purely profit-driven model.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that businesses have a responsibility.
Yeah, a broader responsibility
to society.
Right.
And then, on the other hand, we're also seeing this renewed interest in alternative economic models.
Yeah.
Drawing inspiration from socialist and communist ideas.
So it's like people are looking back.
Yeah, people are revisiting these ideas and trying to see if there are...
there are ways
to adapt them to the challenges we're facing today.
Okay.
Universal basic income. Worker cooperatives. Community ownership of resources.
These are all kind of gaining traction.
They are, especially among younger generations who are maybe a bit disillusioned with the current state of things.
So there's this hunger for new solutions.
There is.
To go beyond that traditional.
Yeah, that go beyond the capitalist versus communist.
Yeah, that binary.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think what's really interesting is the recognition that these systems aren't mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have to choose.
You can blend them.
We can blend them. We can find hybrid models.
Like take the best parts of each.
Exactly. Take the best ingredients from each.
Yeah, and try to create something new.
Yeah, something new that works.
That works better.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what's exciting about this. Yeah.
This moment in time. You know?
Yeah. It feels like there's a lot of potential.
There's a lot of potential for experimentation.
Yeah. For innovation.
For innovation, for new ideas.
Yeah.
But ultimately,
the
future of these systems depends on us.
Right.
It depends on the choices.
The choices we make.
We make as individuals, as communities.
As a global society.
As a global society.
So, like, we have the power to shape
the power,
systems to make them better for us.
Right, to create a world that is more, more sustainable.
Yeah.
And hey, if you want, like, a fun and kind of thought-provoking take on the entrepreneurial spirit that drives capitalism, I recommend checking out Eminem's song Business.
Okay.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Keep those brains buzzing.
Keep thinking.
Keep thinking.